Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Excellent. Yes, there's your long ball. Stretch, stretch, stretch. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA, Prime, Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, of course, the king of all, those gigantic and massive tomahawk cut and cowboy cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had. Probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at uppercutchops.com. That's uppercutchops.com. Or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for uppercutchops.com. We'll let the applause go on that one just a little bit because the food is so damn good. And you know, we should actually kill the New York steak as being the flag for the first item there because, boy, with what's going on in New York right now, I got to tell you, folks, I think I'm going to go ahead and protest the steak, the New York steak. I'm just going to call it, I don't know, maybe how about the Texas steak or something like that, or the Florida steak. That would be steak, not Florida steak. In any event, all right. Big welcome into everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. All of our independents as well. Everybody watching on television, thanks for doing that. Everybody listening in on streaming, thanks for doing that as well. And everybody on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, check that out, folks. A fun page, fun group that is. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes, make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. I built that page about a year plus ago, and now we're up to almost 4,000 group members. And what's cool is that people don't spam it. You don't get all those annoying messages and whatnot from people. I'm the administrator for it, so the good news is, as soon as I see something that doesn't look right or smell right or taste right, I go ahead and get rid of them immediately. Friends over at Vacation Buddies are giving away a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or in Branson, Missouri. If you know the answer to this very, very simple trivia question, and here it is. Which one of these three is the tallest structure in Las Vegas? Is it A, the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Hotel and Casino? Is it B, the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino? And C, the Stratosphere Tower at the Strat? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777. That's 888-576-5777. Now, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri, if you know the answer to that very simple question. And again, if you do, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Call now. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, here's one thing that we don't have out of the way just yet, and nobody's really talking about this. So, yeah, think about this. We have these really long field goals in the National Football League, which I've got to tell you, I kind of like it. And I've been wondering for years why they don't go for the long field goals anyway. However, it doesn't really matter what I think at this point. But here's what I know. There is a longer kick that has been made in college football. That's right. So going all the way back in the Wayback Time Machine, we say, to 1976. Fall was upon them in Abilene, Texas, according to NCAA.com and news. Overcast skies and the crisp 58-degree air resembled the breath of peppermint. The wind, you say? 17 miles per hour with a 12-mile-per-hour tailwind. How do you like that? 69 yards was all that stood in the way of Ove Johansson and history. And that's when Johansson kicked a 69-yard field goal against East Texas State, becoming the record holder for the longest field goal in college football history. That's right, folks, 69 yards. And by the way, homecoming weekend brought the crowd on October 16, 1976 to Abilene Christian University at Shoutel Stadium. The stands were brimming with students, faculty, staff, parents, alumni, you name it, they're there. And they knew one record would be broken that day. Wilbur Montgomery was a touchdown shy of surpassing fellow Mississippi native Walter Payton and his career collegiate touchdown record of 63. What they didn't know of what was the dialogue that preceded the game between ACU, that's Abilene Christian, the teammates, Johansson and Montgomery. Both agreed to set records that day. Two of Johansson's pregame warm-up kicks were good from 70 yards. And of course he said, quote, "The leg was working," close quote. He told that to NCAA.com about 6 years ago in an interview. Now, Wilbert scored his long-anticipated touchdown. And that didn't pressurize Johansson, but something peculiar piqued his adrenaline. 10 minutes before he and the Wildcats special teams unit gathered at their own 41-yard line. Tony Franklin, remember that guy, the barefooted kicker? He was the first real famous barefooted kicker that I remember. Tony Franklin of Texas A&M kicked a 65-yarder and a 64-yarder later in the game. That's a whole lot of yards of football traveling across the gridiron. And he did that against Baylor to take full ownership of the longest field goal in college football history. But it wasn't long-lived. Think about this. Johansson said, quote, "It was exciting to get on the field knowing that if I make this field goal, that I will do something that no one has ever done in the sport," close quote. Now, the kicking gods traveled seemingly about 270 miles up the road from College Station at Texas A&M to sprinkle a little bit of magic kicking dust onto Johansson's right foot in Abilene, and he was on target from 69 yards out. So much that the officials said it would have been good from 75 yards. In fact, some people like to view the kick as a fluke, that mystical powers were at work that day, that the wind gave the ball a little extra life, anything to sell Johansson's achievement short. But guess what? It didn't work. He still did it. Even the officiating crew was the least bit amused. And those guys, they should just keep their opinions to themselves. Really. Shut up. Now, Johansson didn't know that he would make it, but he knew he was capable. He had a big enough foot. So many say the point at which his foot met the ball sounded like a shotgun. Those same people believed the huddle at Abilene's 41-yard line was fake. Johansson could hear laughter as he took formation. Quote, "But my wife said 10 to 15 seconds before you kick, you can hear a needle fall in the stadium," close quote. That was by Johansson. As a matter of fact, now we do have some footage here. Now, I don't know, this is on YouTube here, so it has the Abilene Christian University information on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to silence, they probably have commercials. No, they don't. Here's the feed. Well, the kick is up. They're showing the feed. There's no volume. The kick is up, and man, that thing is just going and going, and somehow, there it was. It made it in the old school goalpost. Now think about this, folks. When you think of the old school goalpost, what do you think of? You think of that movie, The Longest Yard, the original version of The Longest Yard, and you could see the team celebrating going crazy, jumping up and down. There's the American flag in the wind showing, because there was a little wind. And it says transfer from 16 millimeter film back about 21 years ago. How do you like that? A project of the ACU Centennial Task Force by Richard Chastain. Apparently, that's who the credit goes to for this video. But there was no audio for it. But I'll tell you this much, folks. I think of the longest yard when I think of old football and the goalpost and the lack of equipment they used, and it wasn't very safe. But then again, hey, they played the game because they loved the game. Nonetheless, it went through. But Ron Hadfield's, Abilene's former editor of the student newspaper, The Optimist, and current editor of the school's alumni magazine, remembered covering the game from the sidelines on that day. And he recalls asking the coach, that would be Wally Bullington, why he tried to kick a field goal from that spot on the field. And Bullington said, quote, well, we needed 3 points, close quote. Nonetheless, Johansson had only kicked actually 4 collegiate field goals before that game. Imagine that. Growing up in Sweden, the majority of his life really spent on a soccer field. So the guy already had a big foot, but then going over to Irving, Texas, it kind of made sense for him to kick field goals. At the end of the day, folks, there's a very long story with this. Check that out. It's Ovid Johansson and Abilene Christian University. You can find it just about anywhere. Just go ahead and use your favorite search engine. It's a really good story. And by the way, it's longer than anything that's been done in the NFL this year at 68 yards. How do you like that? And I don't care if it was a little windy that day. Who cares? A lot had to happen for that to go right, and good for him. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we're going to stick with college football. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on all of our affiliates and independents and whatnot. Listen, big thanks for everybody waking up with us over in Atlanta on WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for driving home with us over in Montgomery, Alabama, and Columbus, Georgia, and all points in between. Of course, Auburn. Let's go, War Eagle. And a big welcome in for them on WAUD. That's home of the Atlanta Braves. Everybody up and down the Midwest, throughout the heartland, out to the West Coast, those driving along Interstate 15 between Las Vegas and sunny Southern California. Thanks for joining us on Highway Country Radio. That's home of the Vegas Golden Knights and, of course, the Las Vegas Raiders. And needless to say, we want to make sure that we welcome in everybody over in Honolulu. CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Yankees and Alabama Crimson Tide. And, of course, everybody else watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets where applicable. Same with hotel television. All right. Now, we're going to shift into this blasted college football playoff ranking nonsense. Why is it nonsense? Because I said it's nonsense in the first place, and it's my show, and I can do whatever I want to with that. Nonetheless. So, looking at this new first version of this college football playoff, we have some issues here. And first, I'm going to preface this by saying Memphis is the 5th highest ranked conference champion and gets the number 12 seed despite not ranking in the top 25. That's right, the 5th highest ranked conference champion. Imagine that. So they would end up somehow in some ridiculous setup with the number 12 seed. But let's go from number 25 up to number 1. Number 25 in this college football playoff ranking nonsensical. You know what you want. You know what I want to call it. Anyway, Tennessee at 6-3 is number 25. The Pitt Panthers come in at number 24 at 7-2. The Washington Huskies at 6-2 or 23rd. The Missouri Tigers are number 22 at 6-2. Michigan is number 21 at 7-2. Iowa at 6-2 is number 20. USC at 6-2 is number 19. The Miami Hurricanes, that is of Florida, come in at 6-2 and number 18. Georgia Tech, the lowest one-loss team. Imagine that. Leading the ACC, they're at number 17. I mean, that alone is an enormous head-scratcher. Then you have Vanderbilt at number 16 with 2 losses. Louisville, again of the ACC, number 15 at 7-1. Why is a 7-1 team in the ACC ranked higher than an 8-1 team in the ACC? All right, there's some explaining to do here, folks. Number 14 is, yes, another ACC team. Can you see there's no love here for the ACC? Virginia is 8-1. They're actually leading by tiebreakers. They're leading the ACC right now at 8-1. That's right. The highest ranked ACC team is number 14. Answer that. I don't know. Now you're over in the Big 12. Utah is 7-2 at number 13. Oklahoma in the SEC is 7-2 at number 12. Conveniently, Oklahoma makes the cut at number 12, or did they? Because as I read, Memphis is the 5th highest ranked conference champion and gets the number 12 seed, despite not ranking in the top. So really, it's the top 11 that matter, apparently. Then they say Texas at 7-2, quote, first team out, close quote, or parentheses, first team out, close parentheses. At number 11, Notre Dame at 6-2 is number 10. Mind you, they're 6-2. They don't even play a conference championship, and they are ahead of 3 one-loss teams. 3 one-loss teams. No, 3 one-loss teams. And they're all ACC teams. But here's the irony. Notre Dame actually plays basketball in the ACC. But they refuse to play football in the ACC. They don't want to play football in the ACC. What's wrong with this picture, folks? A lot. They shouldn't even be in this. They certainly shouldn't host a game like we talked about in a previous show. Oregon at 7-1 out of the Big Ten, not the Pac-12 anymore. They're number 9. A very good Texas Tech squad, 8-1, is number 8. Brigham Young at undefeated, 8-0. They sit behind 3 one-loss teams, but they're number 7 at 8-0. Sitting ahead of them at number 6 is Ole Miss, a very good squad at 8-1. Georgia, a pretty darn good squad at 7-1, number 5. Alabama, 7-1 at number 4. Why is an undefeated team behind one-loss teams when Brigham Young plays in a Power 4 conference? So is that no respect for the Big 12? Is that what we're talking about? I think it is. So now we go to Alabama. I said Alabama number 4 at 7-1. Texas A&M 8-0 at number 3. So you would imagine Brigham Young should follow Texas A&M at number 4. But no, it's the SEC. They've got to have theirs. And then you have Indiana with the best record in America at 9-0. And a significantly better resume than Ohio State. And those guys somehow are in the first spot for the college football playoff. Why is that? It seems like every week we have this discussion of why Ohio State should not be the first ranked team in the AP, the coaches poll, or this nonsensical college football playoff ranking. You want to talk about a steaming pile of cow, you know what? This is reality. Indiana doesn't have the national attention that Ohio State does. And they don't even have the athletic budget, or the recruiting budget. I think it's somewhere in the $130 million range for Ohio State. Why is that? In fact, let's do a quick search on this. This drives me crazy. We'll go Ohio State. H-O, I wonder if I could spell it with the way I say it. That would be funny. Okay, let's see what their recruiting budget looks like. Let's see if we can find that. Budget. Well, here, it looks like I could find it for 2024. Let's just do recruiting budget. And let's see what we come up with here. All right. It says their expenditures, you ready for this? It says Ohio State's football recruiting budget is substantial. They don't even want to put a number on it. With recent reports estimating a total roster expenditure, never mind everything else, a roster expenditure
Show me the money!
of over $35 million for this season, including both player and NIL compensation. What kind of garbage is that? In the past year, approximately $20 million was reportedly spent on NIL deals for players covering both recruitment and retaining current athletes. Now, how long has that rodeo been going on? Got to tell you, folks, it seems to have been going on, in my opinion, for a very, very, very long time. Even according to a current player or two, not a current, strike that, a former player or two I know that go way back into the 1970s and 1980s, when players apparently, allegedly, as I heard, a little bit of hearsay, so who the hell knows, were getting paid plenty of money and all kinds of benefits to play football at Ohio State. That's right. Now, of course, they say overall budget trends, and this is according to the AI version of that search engine that rhymes with noodle. Overall budget trends, despite the high recent spending on player compensation, Ohio State's overall recruiting budget has ranked below some of its conference peers in recent years. Really? Why don't you post that data? I would love to see what that is, if you know what I mean. So let's take a look at Indiana University, and let's just see what their recruiting budget data shows. Oh, well, conveniently, it's less than half the number. As a matter of fact, the football program's overall spending has increased in 2024, still to less than half of what Ohio State has. In fact, the men's basketball NIL is estimated to be between 8 and 10 million annually. Well, that's their deal in basketball. They're known for basketball. But of course, it's the Purdue Boilermakers that are playing better basketball than Indiana. Yes! But anyway, when we look at these numbers, we scratch our head and say they're spending a fraction of the money on football. Literally, the program expects to have a few $1 million in NIL money, unlike the $35 million they have over in Columbus, Ohio. Tell you what, folks, the ranking is a bunch of crap, in my opinion. And what's worse is the rich get richer and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Gonna be right back here, talk about this so-called bracket as it stands by the college football playoff, and then we'll shuffle into the odds for this coming week's game. Don't go anywhere, lots more to come.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. That's 800-876-7041.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP-TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, Stitcher, YouTube, Deezer, all kinds of these streaming platforms as well. We have a lot of our shows, of course, thousands of them, stored on those platforms for everybody's listening pleasure. So if you're feeling like doing nothing except listen to funny, hard-hitting sports content for, I don't know, maybe the next 3 months, non-stop, you can listen to thousands of shows done right here on the Sports Circus on any of those platforms. And by the way, while you're at thesportscircus.com, check out the partners. Lots of great partners. And one of those, our favorite, is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you can't get over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And you can pick up yours through alsbeef.com. Also, you can learn about the Italian beef sandwich, a lot different than that blasted Philly cheesesteak fried sandwich. Now, this is real cooking, folks. You can read all about it, the quality of the product that's made. It takes, 20-odd hours to make the beef in the first place, to prepare it properly. Unlike that fried sandwich, they just basically should give you a Tums or Alka-Seltzer or whatever, pick your favorite antacid, to go with that awful Philly cheesesteak sandwich, in my opinion, and send you on your way. Then you come back the next day and you're like, oh, wow, my stomach didn't feel good, but I'm still hungry again. Guess what? You don't have that problem if you go down and get yourself a good Italian beef sandwich, especially at Al's Number One Italian Beef. That's alsbeef.com. All right. A nice plug for them because I want to. I don't get paid for saying that. Those are our friends, and we love the food. They've been at it since 1938. They actually invented the sandwich. They created that sandwich 117 years ago, and they opened their first store in 1938, and it's still standing today and doing mad business on a regular basis, and good for them. All right, moving on. That's enough for me plugging some of my favorite food here. Now, this college football playoff bracket nonsense, we already went through this so-called ranking with Ohio State somehow holding the number one spot over Indiana, which has a more, let's put it this way, a much tougher schedule. They've beaten better teams on the road on top of it, and they have one more win, but somehow remain under those guys from Columbus. I wonder if money had anything to do with it.
Show me the money!
Not saying it did, but I'm just wondering. So looking at this alleged bracket, the first round byes go to number 4, Alabama, in the lower left side of the bracket. In the lower right side, it's number 3, Texas A&M. In the upper right, it's Indiana. And the first side in the upper left is Ohio State. Now, the winner of the Oregon and Texas Tech game, if it ended today, Oregon and Texas Tech, boy, if I had to pick a winner in this one, I don't necessarily believe that Texas Tech's offense could be stopped by Oregon. And I say that because I think of what Indiana's offense did at Eugene, Oregon, on the road. And they beat Oregon soundly in that game. I remember watching that. I believe it was October 11. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do remember that was a class reunion day for me. That's right, a class reunion day, but I'm not going to tell you what year it was or how many years it was. Let's put it this way. It was a number with a 0 in front of it. So anyway, yeah, that was the date, and Oregon, they looked like a very pedestrian team, and I think an offense like Texas Tech, in fact, Texas Tech would host that game. I believe they would find a way to beat Oregon. Then it would be Texas Tech and Ohio State. And the big question is, could the Zeros, as I call them, could they actually stop the Red Raiders? And I just don't think they can. I don't think they've got enough. They've got a good defense. I'll give them that. The defense, their defense is better than the offense. But if it got into any kind of a shooting match, I just don't think that they could keep pace with the Red Raiders. So the Red Raiders, that actually favors, in my opinion, favors them. Now, on the bottom part of that side of the bracket, it's Alabama would play the winner of Georgia, that's an SEC matchup, or Memphis, who by default, because they are the 12th last one in with the 5th best division winning record or something like that, whatever the heck it was. Here, let me read it to you exactly from the CFP. It says Memphis is the 5th highest ranked conference champion. That's what it is. It gets the number 12 seed despite not ranking in the top 25. So it would be Memphis and Georgia. Don't see Georgia losing to Memphis. And then you'd have an SEC matchup of Alabama and Georgia. We've seen this movie before. And Kirby Smart always finds a way to play really, really well against Alabama. So you never know what's going to happen there. Now, in the lower right side of the bracket, it's Texas A&M at number 3, awaiting the winner of Virginia from the ACC, again, as number 11 in the bracket with the ACC winner, which makes no sense whatsoever. And they would play Ole Miss, who is number 6. Now, Ole Miss is a very good squad, but it doesn't seem very fair to Virginia to be so far down the trough. Nonetheless, Ole Miss would have their way with Virginia in this game, and you'd have yet another SEC matchup with Ole Miss and Texas A&M. And we've already seen this movie, folks. It's a very, very good game. Big defense against big offense. Well, we'll see what happens there. At the top of the bracket, it would be number 2, Indiana, awaiting the winner of Brigham Young hosting Notre Dame. And in that game, it's great defense against offense. And normally, in these kind of situations, the defensive squad seems to come out on top. Now, if that is the case, you could see Brigham Young at Indiana. Now, if that were the case, let's go down to these bracket games. It would show that they would play, if I'm not mistaken, I think Indiana would play in the Orange Bowl as I see it. So let's just double check. And it shows Orange Bowl, Miami Gardens. Yes, we got that at noon Eastern time over the 4-letter network. So it doesn't say, but I believe number 3. No, according to the playoff, it would be the Sugar Bowl that Indiana, as I believe, down in New Orleans. So you might see Indiana host be the home team nonetheless at the Sugar Bowl. And if that were the case against Brigham Young, well, either way, it doesn't matter who the winner is. I think Indiana would go to the Sugar Bowl, and it would be Texas A&M going to the Orange Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. It would be Alabama going to the Cotton Bowl over in Dallas, and the Rose Bowl would be from Ohio State. So I think that's how that works. I'm not certain of that, but let me take a closer look at this, folks. I mean, look, I'm looking at this for, I wouldn't say the first time, it's probably the second time. Semifinals, yeah, that's right. So the semifinals, that's right, I got it right. So the winner of those games play in the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl is played on January 9 over in Glendale, Arizona, Greater Phoenix market, and the Peach Bowl over in Atlanta on January 9th. So, and this is crazy because we used to have the final games, of course, on New Year's Day. That was the greatest day for college football ever, year in and year out, because everything seemed to happen on those dates. Nonetheless, the final game, the championship game, would be played in Miami this year. They say, well, it's going to be played at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, which happens to be what? The Orange Bowl in the first place. So they'll be playing 2 games at that stadium. That's how I see it, unless I'm missing something. Both games are at Miami Gardens, and I don't know if Miami Gardens has more than one stadium. But either way, it looks to me like, well, I would imagine that if Texas A&M wins, then Texas A&M, if they play, it doesn't matter who they play. If Texas A&M wins their game, then they go to play in the Orange Bowl in the first place, and then they come right back the next week and play, if I'm not mistaken, if they win, they'll play another game, or not the next week, strike that. It would be, they'd play in Atlanta. That's what it is. Then if they play in the championship game, then they would go right back down to Miami. So Texas A&M theoretically could play at the Orange Bowl in Miami, then the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, and then the Orange Bowl Hard Rock Stadium, what they're going to call it by the full sponsor name, whatever, but right back there in Miami. So it looks like they have the most favorable path in everything. So the number 3 team, according to this bracket, as I see it, and I think that's how they match them up. It's by, I don't know if it's by the AP bracket or the CFP bracket when it comes to the bowl game seeding. I think it's by the CFP. And if that is the case, yeah, that's exactly how it would work. So, well, I'll tell you what, although Texas A&M sits in a 3rd spot, they would seem to have the most favorable path as far as travel goes. So all of this stuff kind of makes a little bit of sense. And even if it's those guys from Columbus, Ohio, they got to do a little bit of traveling. All right, back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come. Going to talk odds. Don't go anywhere.
Show me the money!
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Or face
You'll get your chance, smart guy. All right, break it up. Speak when you're told to speak and not before.
End your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests or prior guests and recorded shows, which you can find on all streaming platforms, as well as the store. Check out the store. Lots of great gift ideas coming up for your favorite holiday. And let's face it, we all do a little bit of shopping, and the Sports Circus has some great items to provide for your friends, family, loved ones, whatnot. Check them out at the sportscircus.com store. There's all kinds of hats, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants, coats, blankets, coffee mugs, travel mugs, you name it, they're there. There's all kinds of great items there from the sportscircus.com. And by the way, they all have the Sports Circus logo on them. And if you don't know what the logo actually is, check it out online. And also, you can email info@thesportscircus.com and you can ask us, what is the meaning of that logo? How did you come up with it? And I'd like to know more. And guess what? If you do that, we'll give you an extra 10% off of anything that you pick up at the Sports Circus store on top of it. How do you like that? All right. Welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. You know who you are. And also, by the way, we want to make sure we welcome everybody back on Facebook that are listening in and watching from Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. A fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends. Have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. A lot of people love when we do this part of the show because Sal the Bookmaker shows up to tell you, show me the money! And I'll show you some good picks. I got to tell you, folks, we are just killing it. And honestly, Sal the Bookmaker being myself, of course, I could do third person on this one, if you know what I mean. Well, let's face it. I'm picking way above the Vegas line as far as percentage and wins and so forth, better than anybody I've ever seen. And it's not just me, I'm just saying. And it's because I know what I'm doing. Well, a lot of people say, well, I know what you're doing. No, but I know how to follow the money. And a lot of other people know how to do it too. They don't talk about it. But these alleged prognostication services and shows on television, everybody's suddenly a superstar or super knowledgeable because what do? They go to the analytics. Well, you know, the weather's going to be this, or this player's hurt, or this person has performed this well against this condition or whatever. All this other crap. Well, guess what? That's all what? Statistics. It doesn't talk about probability. It's only what has happened. It's not what is going to happen. And so the difference being, if you understand money flow, then you'll understand, yes, this is what the public thinks, but this is what the money wants. And think about this. Ever since betting has really come to the forefront of the sports world when it comes to controversial calls, this, that, and the other, boy, it sure seems like the money has a lot to do with what's going on. I'm not going to say they're fixed, even though I believe personally that every game is fixed anyway. Geez, sometimes I believe you got a better chance of flipping a coin and coming out with the right answer. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. Without further, let's get into these games here, and a couple of games that have already gone off, and actually I don't even know what happened in these games, but UTSA and South Florida did play on Wednesday. They did play, and I will not get into a discussion on it. Same thing with Georgia Southern and App State. So if you don't know anything about those two teams, or those four teams, well then you better do some homework. Starting out with Thursday, November 7 games. I think it's Thursday. Is it Thursday? November 7? Let's see. Today is 5, 6, 7. Well, actually, let's do this. Friday's game is the 7th. Let's do that. So the Friday game, actually there's a few of them here on Friday. There's 3 of them. Houston and Central Florida. Houston opens up -2.5, and they're actually up to 1.5 and a picket at Caesars Palace. So we look at MGM, Caesars Palace, and Hard Rock because that's what's available to us just online. And right now, for the best odds in this one, if you're betting it, it looks like you'll actually get 0.5 point over at the Hard Rock. And if you're the worst case scenario, if you're betting with or for Houston, you're -1.5 at MGM. And counterwise, of course, if you're looking for the best odds for Central Florida, well, guess what that's going to be? That's going to be at MGM. Either way, folks, looking at this, that's one of the games on the 7th. Now, you also have the Green Wave of Tulane with the number 12 currently is the 12th spot in the CFP playoff, and that is the Memphis Tigers. So Memphis opens up -4.5, and they're down to -3.5 right now. That's across the board. So we're just going to sit back and watch that one. We're not even going to make a pick on that, only because that game we're going to leave that one to those people that are inquiring that want to pick up the information. And again, info@thesportcircus.com for that. Now, also on Friday, it is Northwestern traveling to sunny Southern California, and for a 6 p.m. local start time at USC. USC opens up -16.5. It's 14.5 everywhere else. So take your picks there, and we're going to go right into the Saturday games. We got to go through these fairly quick because there's a lot of them. Temple goes to Army. Army opens up 6.5, and the line is 6.5, 7 everywhere. Temple, decent team. Army, a little bit better team. I'd stay away from it. James Madison, the Dukes, travel over to West Virginia to play the Thundering Herd of Marshall. James Madison opens up 12.5. They're 13.5 across the board. James Madison should go away with this one. Shouldn't really be much of a game. Colorado visits West Virginia. West Virginia opens up at 4.5 in Morgantown. It's up to 6.5 across the board. West Virginia going away in this game. SMU, a very good SMU squad, travels to BC where Notre Dame had a little bit of trouble with them. They didn't win by a giant score. SMU is 13.5, but it's down to 10.5 right now. If BC can stay above 10.5, that's not a bad pick. Indiana travels to Happy Valley. They open up -11.5. It's up to 15 at the casinos right now. Should be Indiana going away. They should make an example of Penn State, and frankly, they owe them one. Georgia, for a 9 a.m. Pacific game or a noon Eastern game, they travel to Starkville, Tennessee for an SEC collision with the Bulldogs. Georgia opens up at 9.5, -9.5. They're at 9.5 pretty much across the board, except MGM has them at 8.5. If you can get Georgia under 8, then I would say that wouldn't be a bad pick. Brigham Young, undefeated, travels to Texas Tech. This is the big line in the sand for Brigham Young. We'll see what they do against the high-powered offense at the high-powered offense's house. So they're playing in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech opens up -8.5, and it's 10.5 across the board. Brigham Young with 10.5 looks awfully good to me, folks. Southern Miss travels to Arkansas State. Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles, 3.5. They're up to 4.5 across the board. Arkansas State, a pretty darn good home team. Watch out for that one. Southern Miss is a division leader in that conference, so that's going to be an interesting game. Now, Ohio State, they travel to West Lafayette to play Purdue, and they open up at 28.5, and they're -29.5 right now. They should win by 129.5. Bowling Green is traveling to Eastern Michigan, And Eastern Michigan opens up -1.5, and they're 2.5 across the board. Eastern Michigan's going to have their hands full with the Hawks, the Red Hawks of Bowling Green. Missouri State is getting 6.5 at Liberty. Liberty opens up at 6.5. They're up to 8 at MGM. And I'm not so sure which way to go with that one, only because these two teams are not the teams that we thought they were. It's the old Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were. All right, moving quickly in these. Citadel, Ole Miss by a bundle. Rice hosting UAB. UAB will have their say in this game. They may even win this game at Rice. Maryland travels to Rutgers. That's basically a border war between New Jersey and Maryland. Very good game, fun game, tight game. Watch that one. Watch the unders in that game. Charlotte and East Carolina. East Carolina by a country mile in this game. Florida Atlantic hosting Tulsa. Florida Atlantic's going to have their win in this one. Don't know if they're going to cover the 3.5. Louisiana Tech at Delaware. Watch out. Delaware is a really good team, and they're good at home. I think they're going to cover the 6. Middle Tennessee and Florida International. That's the nobody cares game. Jacksonville State at UTEP. That's nobody cares game times 2, but Jacksonville State should have won that game. Syracuse plus 4 touchdowns and the hook at Miami. Watch out. Syracuse is a giant killer. Watch out. Syracuse may win that game straight up. Iowa State travels to Dallas to play TCU. Well, guess what? That game ought to be a hell of a lot closer than the 7 points that TCU is laying. Texas A&M travels to Missouri. Good defense against good defense. Missouri is a home team dog. They're getting 7. If they go up to 7.5 to 8, I would lean on Missouri. Oregon travels to Iowa. A very good Iowa team at home. Will Iowa, with 6.5 points, cover is the question. Oregon wins the game, but will it be within a touchdown? Something tells me no. Oregon should win the game big. Kansas getting 4.5 at Arizona. Kansas is better than Arizona. Duke is -9.5. As long as it stays under 10, Duke at UConn, it should be Duke. Georgia State traveling to the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, in a very tough game, should beat Georgia State, that is. Auburn, come on, War Eagle, what do we got? You guys are going to go up to Nashville. You're going to play a very tough team in Vanderbilt. And I got to tell you, I'm willing to lay the points of 6.5. As long as it don't go to 7, I'll take Vandy -6.5 all day and twice on Sunday. Kennesaw State out of Georgia is playing New Mexico State. They should win by a ton, except for the fact they're playing at New Mexico State. New Mexico State is a tricky team. They should cover the 9.5. Stanford traveling to the Fighting Bill Belichick's, and it should be Stanford going away despite they're getting 7.5 points. I don't think North Carolina's got a win in them. Washington, an 11.5 point favorite at Camp Randall Stadium in Wisconsin. Washington will win, but they won't cover. Texas State plays the Ragin' Cajuns down there in Louisiana. Very fun game to watch. Folks, watch that game. You'll get a kick out of that one. Don't even bet it. Just bring some popcorn. Air Force at San Jose State. Once upon a time, Air Force should have destroyed that team. Well, guess what? Maybe not in today's time. San Jose State is a pretty good squad. Watch out. They may cover. Florida State travels to South Carolina to play Clemson. I have no confidence in Clemson anymore. None. Florida State in this one. Cal travels to Louisville. Louisville by a bundle. Wake Forest travels to UVA, to the Wahoos. Wahoos win this one over Wake in a border war, so to say. Florida travels to Kentucky. This one should be Florida in a tightly contested game. LSU travels to Alabama. This one's Alabama going away. Not the same LSU squad. Utah State hosting the Wolfpack of Nevada. It is Utah State by a bundle in this game. Notre Dame, 26.5 points over Navy. Navy should cover that game. Nebraska travels to the Rose Bowl. And the Rose Bowl is a happy place for UCLA, but Nebraska owes them one. Watch out for an upset there. Colorado State and the local team here in Vegas. I think it's the local team in Vegas by a hair. Oregon State over Sam Houston. San Diego State over Hawaii in a tough game there. Usually Hawaii wins at home. The Bobcats of Ohio over Miami. UMass will beat the Akron Zips, believe it or not, folks. Akron somehow is a 12.5 point favorite. I have no damn idea how they even win any football games. Kent State at Ball State. That's Ball State. Northern Illinois plays the Rockets of Toledo, and that's Toledo taking off in orbit over Northern Illinois. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Excellent.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.